Thank you for joining us. We're a group of Christian friends based here in Lincoln, and we've got together to bring you a series of carols and devotionals over this Advent period. We invite you to join us as we look at various visitors associated with this Christmas period and to hopefully bring you a little closer to Jesus at this time.
Angels we have heard on high, singing sweetly o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strain. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Come to Bethlehem and see, in whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Luke tells us that in the same region there were shepherds out in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night, and an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were filled with fear. And the angel said to them, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy, that will be for all the people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a saviour, who is Christ the Lord." In 2008, a teenager in Devon received an Xbox for his birthday. And that's not unusual. But the only game he got was Madden, which is the American football equivalent of FIFA. And so he loaded up the game and he had to pick a team. And he didn't know who to pick, so he chose the Philadelphia Eagles. And as he played on his Xbox, he got to know the team, and then that extended to him getting to know them in real life. And he was watching their games, and he was engaging in online forums all about what the team and what they were doing. And a few years later, he combined that passion for the Eagles with his love of journalism, and he launched an Eagles news website. Now, each October, American football comes to London. And the NFL and the teams that are playing over here, they are all publishing news stories. They want to get lots of stuff into the media to build anticipation for the games. And 5 years ago, the Philadelphia Eagles came over to play, and they were looking for their unique news angle that they could take. And they found it in this lad, who by now was in his early 20s and ran the Philly Sports Network. And through this, people got to hear about his podcast. And it's called The Outside Insider. No matter how much he spoke to former members of the team, no matter how much he got the inside news to put on his website for what was happening in the team and the locker room, he would always be an outsider, living 3,000 miles and 5 time zones away from Philadelphia. And as we read about this group of shepherds huddled on a hillside one dark night, we're reading about a group of outside insiders as well. Deep down, they knew that being a shepherd was a noble calling. They were probably descendants of David themselves. They knew the stories of David, a shepherd boy who had been called and anointed to be king. They knew the promises that one day a member of their wider family, one of David's descendants, would be the anointed one, would fulfill the promise to be a saviour, to bring them hope and liberty. And yet, at that time, they were outside insiders. For whilst the lambs that they raised would be welcome in the temple, to be sacrifices on the altar, they were not welcome. Most of the time they were physically dirty and ceremonially unclean. They were outside insiders, and yet it is to them that it's chosen to announce good news of great joy. They are the ones that get to see the worship of heaven as this group of angels gives praise to God. They are the ones who are invited to come down off the hill and see the newborn Saviour for themselves. And time and again we read in Luke's Gospel of how the outsider is drawn in by Jesus. Whether they're outsiders because of sickness or sinfulness or their circumstances, they are drawn in by Jesus. So, this Christmas, who are the people that you know who are outsiders, who feel like they're stuck up on a hill this Christmas? Maybe it's a lonely neighbour or a colleague who's far from home this Christmas. What are the opportunities that you've got to invite them in, to invite them into the middle of the action so that they too can hear good news of great joy? Or maybe you're the one that feels like the outsider. Maybe you're the one that feels like you're stuck upon that hill again in the dark and the cold. Maybe you this Christmas need to accept the invitation to come down the hill and come and see your Saviour anew.
See